Hi. So cutting your dog's nails can be one of those experiences that's a little bit nerve-wracking for the human and the dog, depending on how comfortable the dog is with the whole process. A lot of people that have rescue dogs, they usually trim their nails at the pound, and a lot of times it's done in a quick way. A lot of times the dog at the pound, their nails are long, so it might not be comfortable for them. And so what I'm saying is oftentimes is the case when someone gets a rescue dog with an unknown past, there might be some issues with cutting the nails. It's a pretty intimate process. It requires a lot of trust on the dog's part, and it requires a lot of calmness and patience on the part of the human. So I'm doing a voiceover here because I was basically just chatting with the owner of the dog, and we were talking about all kinds of random stuff, so that wouldn't be too helpful. What I'm going to do here is try and walk you through my state of mind, what my actions were, what the thoughts behind my actions were during this process, where you can literally watch these two dogs get their nails cut and observe the subtle body language that they give. Notice the way I respond to it. If you're familiar with my book, and I talk about the concept of space and pace, this video is like an excellent example of those two things and how they work in tandem with one another. You'll notice that before I begin trying to invade this dog's space, so to speak, by cutting his nails, even though he's my buddy and he's comfortable with me, you can see I'm just kind of, hanging out and relaxing, and I'm getting ready to crouch down here, but I'm doing it nice and slow because unfortunately, I'll just go into a little bit of a backstory with these dogs, and if you're interested in knowing like the full story of these dogs, stay tuned to the end. You might have seen them in some of my other videos, and maybe you have some questions about them, so I'll talk about that a little later on. But what had happened was, not that long ago, maybe, I don't know, a little while ago, the owners had to go out of town unexpectedly. I wasn't around to help out, so they put their dogs in a kennel, and they're not sure what happened while the dogs were there. They were there for 3 nights, but when they got home, they were like super duper skittish. A lot of the work that the owners had accomplished in terms of like helping the dogs learn how to be calm and well balanced kind of got flushed down the toilet through some traumatic experience that the dogs had while the owners were out of town. So that's why I'm being extra patient with this dog. You can see the way that he's panting. It's a pretty warm day. You can tell by the way the fan is going. But he was a little bit, nervous. And that's why I'm just turning this experience into a real non-invasive procedure. And he can tell that, like, I'm being super duper respectful of his need to not hurry. Because a lot of times when you have a dog that's dealing with anxiety, just the act of slowing things down can actually help the dog a lot. So you see, I'm getting ready to get into position here to get started cutting his nails. And so I brought him a little closer to the camera so that you could see what's going on. You'll notice that when I start, because I'm trying to be real cooperative with him, I just had him sitting down, and I just had his one paw in my hand, and I began cutting the nails that way. He started to get a little tired, and as a result of that, he was wobbling a little bit. And I want the dogs to be completely still because I don't want to have them shift even like a half a centimeter right when I applied pressure to the clippers, because then I would cut the wrong part of the nail. It's important that the dog's paws stay pretty still when you're doing this, so that you can have, make sure you're cutting exactly where you want. And especially with a big dog, their nails are thicker. I cut, like, instead of trying to go one clip per nail, I'll do like 5 or 6 little tiny clips around, and that way I can kind of round it off a little bit and make it more comfortable and shorten it up good, but still keep a little bit of a curvature to it, so the dog doesn't like scratch themselves while they're like sleeping, by having like some hard square edge on the nail. So you can see he's not providing like any resistance at all, because he feels totally respected. My head is lower than his. I've, asked for his paw in a very cooperative way. It's not like I just like reached out and took his paw, and I'm showing him, like, if he wanted to squirm right now and put his paw down, I would let go of his paw. That's like the level of like touch that we're experiencing. So I'm just having fun chatting with the owner. She's sitting right off camera, sweetheart of a lady, just one of my favorite people. She's just such a great lady. And she's got the other dog sitting there who's paying rapt attention to what we're doing. And we're just enjoying the beautiful summer afternoon. So you can see now, I asked Hank to go on his side and quote unquote ask. The easiest way to make it easy for the dog is to just kind of make it happen with no drama. So you can see I kind of technically like just kind of plopped him on his side, and he bounced off the ground a little bit, but he could feel the energy behind it, and it obviously wasn't painful in any way to him. I mean, they bounce each other off the ground harder than that when they're playing. So it's like he knew that what I just did was like supported with this like completely calm, cooperative energy, and that's why I was able to do it. And you notice when I plopped him down like that, he didn't move, and look, he's putting his head down, see? It's not like he was like, oh crap, what was that, and try and squirm back up. He was like, alright. I really want you to understand how animals, like, when you're coming at them from a respectful way, with a calm, balanced energy, you can handle an animal in a way that, someone who doesn't have that energy or respect wouldn't be able to. And you can see you see how I'm touching his tummy here and just gently rubbing it? That's not so I can hold him down. That's just like a tactile physical reward of praise that I'm giving to him as a gesture of gratitude from me to him, in order to say thank you for laying on your side and being super calm. Like, and he totally gets it. Like, you can see his legs are a little tense, his back legs are tense, but I'm not worried about that. Like, that's just how they are. Like, he's got his chin on the floor, he's totally just comfortable, he's not scared at all. And so yeah, I'm not worried about the fact that his back legs are sticking up. So I forget what I was talking about with the owner, something about the dog probably. But as you'll see here, I let him sniff the clippers, just real nonchalant. I'm not like, ooh, see, good boy, look at the clippers. I'm just like, you can smell them. I gave him a little kiss there, like a little body language kiss, and that helped him calm down even more. And now you see we got the back legs down. So now we're ready to really just like go like 1, 2, 3 and finish the rest of the paws like without any problems, because he's totally just chilling. I'm going to finish this first paw. I forgot there was like a nail on there, and then I'll go through the other paws And what actually happens, I think it might be on his front paw, I forget. But what happened is I actually cut a little too close and he started bleeding. You'll see I asked the owner for a tissue napkin thing to dab up a little bit of blood. It wasn't gushing blood, but I definitely clipped it quick and it started bleeding. And that just goes to show you the general overall tone of just calm cooperation. Like, I actually messed up and cut him by accident, and he didn't even react. Like, not at all. I think maybe you might be able to see where I cut him because he might wince a little bit. But he didn't like try and get up or avoid me or interfere with me proceeding to cut the rest of his nails, because he could tell. He was like, oh, honest mistake, that wasn't too bad or anything, I'm a tough guy, and this guy's like trying his best. And I'm not kidding, man. You don't have to learn a whole lot to be able to vibe with your dog. You just gotta calm down and just be chill, and just move at a pace that you're comfortable with. Move at a pace that your dog is comfortable with, and you'll be surprised how fast you can take a dog's behavior from nervous to pretty chill. And I view it as like a long-term health strategy, because there's obviously going to be times when you need to clip the dog's nails or take it to the vet. So, I mean, this is real practical stuff. It's not like teaching your dog to walk on a handstand or something. And so what? See, I just slide him over? See how I just slid him over? No big deal. And he's looking at me like, he just slid me over. But you can see, look, he puts his head right back down, because we're in such a balanced state of cooperation that he would be able to feel my intention at this point of how we're vibing. If I was like frustrated with him at all or dragging him over because I was in a hurry, he would feel it and he wouldn't respond. But because he knows that I'm just like chilling and I'm not in a hurry and I'm super calm and I'm just like enjoying myself and talking with his owner, he don't care how long this takes. Like, you notice I'm just taking a break so I can concentrate on the owner talking. And he doesn't care. He's not like squirming around like, oh, I can't wait till we're done. I've only got 5 minutes ability to do this. He could literally do this for an hour. Like, he would probably wind up just taking a nap. Like the vibe that we're at right now, if I was to just like keep yakking with the owner and not cutting his nails for a little while, 5-1 he would fall asleep. Not like a deep sleep, but he ain't sweating anything. He ain't like trying to hope this ends quick. He's fine. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you train your dog or when you're doing something with your dog, have the patience to wait for the energy to be proper so that it's just like literally like non-stressful. Like, do you think that when I'm done cutting this dog's nails that he's going to get up and feel any level of stress about it at all? Like, he's not. He actually went over off to the side and took a nap while I cut his sister's nails. And I'm going to take a break from recording this voiceover right now and get a drink and do a few things. And I'll pick up and finish recording this in a little bit here. Okay, so here's probably about where I think I might I think that might have been it right there. Do you see how he did a little pullback and he lifted his head and looked at me? I think that's where I got him, and you can see, yeah, that was it. So I'm reaching for owner to hand me a paper towel. And I'm just dabbing the nail. But you notice how I didn't react, and I'm not making a fuss about it. I didn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Hank. Oh." You see how I'm like participating with him, but I'm almost sort of ignoring him. I mean, I'm literally paying attention to his foot, but it's not like I'm paying attention to like the fact that he would, some people might think he needed to be comforted. Sure, everybody needs to be comforted, but the way that I comfort this dog in this moment is to just stay calm and act like nothing happened. Sure, he probably felt a little twitch or a prick or similar to something if you cut your face shaving, if you're a guy, or if you're a woman, if you are shaving your calves or something and you scrape the razor along your shin bone. He probably felt a little something, but it wasn't like, ah. And, that's why I didn't even really do anything other than ask the owner to hand me a paper towel. And I'm just explaining that to the owner right here, and I'm giving it a minute because it was bleeding a little bit. It wasn't dripping, gushing blood, but so it stopped a little bit. So I did the next nail. It's important to just keep going. See how he's got his head back down on the floor, and he's not sweating it. He's not worried I'm gonna make a mistake on the next nail, or all of a sudden I'm in a hurry, so I'm gonna be cutting him closer because I'm not paying attention. None of that stuff. He's not doing it for that. So this is just all about cooperation, and we're about ready to wrap it up with him and get his sister on here. And she's got a whole different kind of vibe than him. She's more alpha kind of dog, in the sense that she wants to participate more. She's not as submissive as Hank is, which isn't to say that's bad, but she just has a different personality. I want to make sure this is actually recording. Okay, yeah, it was recording. I'm like I said in one of my other videos, I'm not really a tech person. It was recording, but I just couldn't see the bar thing. So here we are recording some more, and I'm just yakking with the owner. She's like a good friend, and I'm just taking a long time talking. There was some stuff I said in the video that I kind of wish I could remember. Right now I'm just kind of winging it. The main thing I want you to see is what it looks like. And if these were the same dogs last week or whatever, when I came to visit for the first time in a few months, that they were barking at me and stuff. And that's why I tell the owner, it's because she thinks I'm super special the way I can help their dogs, because her dogs trust me inside and out. I can, these dogs just trust me, and she thinks I'm special. And I keep saying, no man, it's not that at all. And it's not that they like me a whole bunch or they love me super much so they listen to me. That's not it. They love the owner 100 times more than they love me. You should see how they interact with their owners. They're absolute sweethearts. Cuddle bugs, just softies, oh my gosh, just so adorable. When these dogs are at home at night watching TV with the owners, they're some of the sweetest dogs you will ever feel like you could want to spend some time with sitting on the couch. They're just lover bugs. And that's a reflection of a lot of things in their life that the owner has provided for them. But getting back to what I was saying is, the dogs love the owners way more than me, but yet the owners still have a hard time sometimes getting the dogs to listen. But yet I show up after not seeing the dogs for a year, And within 20 minutes, they would literally like hop on one foot if I asked them to in a clear enough way. They have like complete cooperation. So notice how that we're done. All he wants to do is go back to his owner, and you can see I'm just like reorienting my energy facing down to just show him like I'm still in this space. I'd like for you to at least sort of share it with me, so that he didn't feel the need to like rush back to his owner. And then once he's calm, then I'll just hand the owner the leash and switch it up, and we'll get started with his sister. And like I said, she's a little bit more curious, a little bit more interactive, a little bit more wanting to participate in what's going on. But I just do the same techniques or whatever I don't even really think of it as a technique. It's just more of a state of being. I just share this same energy with her, and she comes down fine. One thing that's making this a little bit trickier for the dogs right now and for me is the fact that the owner is sitting right there. And that's not a shot at the owner at all, but they want to be like with her. And the fact that I'm asking them to come over one at a time and go through this ritual of getting their nails groomed with me, it's really not what they want to be doing. And they look over and see the other dog snuggled up next to the owner, and they're like, I want that right now in this moment. And I'm compassionate to that. I'm not like being super demanding or short-tempered or short patience because the dogs are actively like trying to get back to the owner. I'm just using that in the whole equation. I've just accounted for that variable, and I'm still committed to maintaining a really calm, patient projection with these dogs, because I don't care. Like I said, I'm enjoying myself talking with the owner. I'm not in a hurry, but that's not why I'm taking long. I'm taking long so that the dogs can have a really neutral experience and not feel the slightest bit inconvenienced, so to speak. And I'm also giving them some seat time in a calm state of mind while something is happening, in this case cutting their nails, to kind of wash over any of that residual trauma that they might have experienced while they were being boarded. So you can see I got the girl now, and she's like super resistant. She's like, I'm not leaving mom now, especially since she brought my brother over. See, she actually laid down. You can see her one paw off to the right. You see her head there? So right away she's giving me way more resistance. And I'm explaining to the owner that I have the choice at this point to turn it into a battle, like, come over here now, right now, I said come here, or use my body language and space and pace to help her make it more clear to what I'm actually asking her to do. So you can see I circled around behind her, and I think we might have walked a little bit to the one side so I could get a little momentum. I don't actually remember what I was doing off camera right now. But my point is I want this girl dog to come into the space of getting her nails cut in a calm, non-nervous way. And if that takes an extra couple minutes, then that's just what it does. So as we get into her, I'm not really going to narrate the same thing. You're basically watching me just like be patient as I like lead her in a clear way where she's getting the picture that like, look, I'm I'm going to ask you to come over here and follow through with this. If we have to take some time to do it, I don't mind, but at the end of the day, I am going to ask you to come over here. And you can see I pull a little bit, but not much. And look at how her back legs are. You can see she's tense. It's okay. Like, if I was to, and you see how I just repositioned her, and what I said to her owner right then was, the way that she was sitting was more of like a spring-loaded sit, meaning she could like bounce up to her feet real quick. And I wanted her to sit in a more comfortable way, so that's why I popped her to the side a little bit so she would kind of put her weight more on one hip, which not only is going to be more comfortable for her, but it's going to show her brain that I'm actually asking her to sit here and stay here, not just sit down until you like spring back up. So now she's going to lay down on her own, and I'm just going through the motions and just letting her smell my legs and just feel the vibe. Like, we're going to cut your nails, sweetheart, but if you want to take some extra time and relax, that's fine. Take some time. Like, I'm here for you. I'm not going to try and like be like, oh, calm down, or are you ready, or any of that stuff. So now that we're going to start up here in a minute, and there's really not a bunch more to say technically about the actual act of cutting her nails, other than I'm like focusing on being real respectful. And you can see see how she gets all stiff. So I put her down, but it's the same thing. You see that touch on the side there? That's not to hold her down. That's to share energy. It's to show her, do you feel this energy coming through my hand, how calm it is? That's what I want you to feel. And you can see, look at her head. She's so cute. I love her so much. She's like literally just like figuring it out. Because I'm giving her the space to do it, you'll watch that she just relaxes. And that's all I'm asking of her. It's a pretty easy thing to ask, but trust me, it can be pretty complicated sometimes if you have a dog who is nervous and you're not filling in the gaps of being super calm for them. They need our help to achieve the calmness. So that's what I'm doing here, and you'll see once I get started clipping her nails, we just kind of go through it without much fuss, and then we're done. So I'm going to take a minute here and explain the backstory of this dog's, because some people have actually asked me in casual conversations, like, because I share these videos with people, or that I'm working with. As example, if I feel like something can help them to see it, I'll say, hey, check this out as some homework. And they'll be like, I've been asked more than a few times, is how come these owners, if they're older and they have health problems, why did they adopt two big pit bulls that have a lot of energy, that are at the athletic prime of their life? It's not like they waited until these dogs were 10 years old and then took them in. They took them in when they were like actively like teenagers, filled with like all kinds of energy and like no discipline. Why did they do that? Well, here's why. Because trust me, the only exercise that some people get is jumping to conclusions. And everybody wants to think like they're just they're just so capable of making like all these proper choices, that anytime they see someone else that's struggling in an area that they're not struggling in, or that they can see that what they perceive to be a chain of events, like, oh well, they could have saved themselves all this problem if they would have just gotten two smaller dogs. Well, let me tell you some story. They are some of the sweetest people you would ever want to meet. They have a beautiful home. They have a lot of love and free time to share with their dogs, and they wanted to adopt two dogs. They wanted to go and rescue two dogs that were going to be put down and needed homes. And they figured to themselves, if the dogs have some discipline problems, we can hire a trainer and things will be fine. The woman wanted, before they even showed up at the pound, she wanted a dog along the lines of a 35-pound or so dog, and 35 would be pushing it. She wanted a little lap dog kind of that was big enough to not be a pocketbook dog, like something that could walk around on its own and play and run around, and but something you could pick up and move around if you had to, and wasn't going to be this big deal, and something of a temperament that wasn't like a terrier, because terriers are very tenacious. They're very committed to their thing. So that's what she had in mind. And the guy was like, oh, I'll just feel it out for the dog that I feel like is, a good, calm. He just wanted a good, calm, good old dog. He didn't care what kind it was. He wanted a boy. And he wanted the dog to just be able to just be like his buddy. And he set eyes on Hank. And if you ever saw Hank in person, you would feel what he felt. Hank is a sweetheart. He's not a nervous dog by nature, which is a whole nother story. He's super chill, very affectionate, had no kind of aggression towards any living thing. The kind of dog you could put in front of a little hamster and he would maybe sniff the hamster. And if the hamster scratched him on the nose, he would totally not react. Hank was the perfect dog. As Steve, well, I don't like to say their names, but as the owner was like, I want Hank. The mom owner was looking around at littler dogs, and she was looking at a few that she had picked out. And so the guy went back and told the volunteers that he wanted to adopt Hank. He said he think they were a good fit. He wanted to get started with the paperwork. Well, at that point they informed him that Hank has a sister and they want to adopt them out together, which I can respect, but that's kind of another story. But the rescue shelter was super committed about having these dogs go together. And at that point, Hank and the male owner were already kind of bonded. I mean, he had his heart set on this dog, the way it was looking at him. He could tell this was his dog. And so he goes and tells the wife about the sister, and they meet her, and she's not only bigger than Hank, she's got 5 times the energy of him, and she's got a whole different kind of energy. And the wife is like, oh boy, this is the exact opposite of anything I would have picked out or even feel capable of handling. Lily is a big, strong dog. If you see her haunches, you could tell. She's a big, strong dog. So in order to keep the dogs together, the woman, the wife, made a huge sacrifice and commitment to say, okay, I'll commit to adopting Lily so my husband can have Hank. And that's why you have an elderly couple that has these 2 dogs. Because if he had taken Hank home and not Lily, Hank would have been super chill. Lily actually made Hank a nervous wreck by being a nervous wreck. And it gave them 2 nervous, excited, barking pit bulls instead of one. But you've noticed in this video and other videos how highly I speak of these people. I'm not blowing smoke. They never once even crossed their mind of giving the dogs back, or giving up, or rehoming the dogs. Or they were like, these are our dogs, and they've gone to extreme lengths. They literally have rearranged most of their entire lifestyle to accommodate for these dogs, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's why I help them any chance I can, because I love them and they deserve it. So thank you for watching. And like I said before, if you've got the patience to watch one of my videos from start to finish, don't ever even worry about training your dog. You've already got all the patience you need. Just pay attention to what you're learning on this channel. Feel free to reach out to me and ask any questions, and you're going to have your dog being good before you even know. Thanks for watching.